This is G&G's officially licensed Cobalt KINETICS BAMF rifle. I know what you're thinking, but apparently BAMF stands for Billet Aluminum Modern Firearm. Sure. Anyway, this is a faithful reproduction of the team variant, which for a real one starts at just under $4,000. Cobalt KINETICS specializes in high-performance, race-oriented rifles, and the big feature replicated on the airsoft version is the auto-ejecting mag. I imagine a lot of broken magazine baseplates in the future, but it is quite a clever design. Basically, as the follower pushes up on empty, it triggers a little tab that flips open the top half of the slot that the magazine release grabs onto, dropping your magazine. Don't want it to eject? Simply slide over this tab that locks everything into place. With the whole system inside the magazine, if anything breaks, just replace the magazine instead of diving into your gun's internals. The magazine worked really well, and in our testing, it dropped every single time. However, the ambidextrous mag catch on the pre-production model that we have is a little bit too flush, which meant every single time I pulled the trigger, the magazine would drop out, empty or not. Auto-eject indeed. Now, G&G did tell us this beforehand, and naturally the production model will have this fixed, but for now, I had to manually hold in that mag release with that dreaded mag weld grip. Fortunately, other G&G models didn't have this issue and they worked perfectly. It also tested to work fine for VFC, Crytac, as well as ENC, which is really good news. The gun itself has that G&G G2 mech box with that little empty magazine cutoff switch. But the auto-ejecting mag doesn't actually have that little G2 switch. However, if the magazine is auto-ejecting anyway, then nothing is left inside the mag well to push up on that lever and you won't be able to dry fire anyway. Like I said, it's quite a clever design, and of course you can use regular G2 or regular AEG mags with this gun. Taking a look at the gun itself, I know we throw around the term full metal quite a bit, but this thing takes that to a whole nother level. On top of the usual metal bits like the rail, the barrel, and the receiver, all the controls, the pistol grip, and even the entire stock is full metal. Aside from the internals, the only thing on this entire gun that is plastic is that dust cover. Seriously. Naturally, this brings up the weight quite a bit, and on our scales, it came in at 3.49 kilograms. And that is quite a bit if you're used to a polymer CM16, which comes in at 2.2 kilograms. As far as looks goes, this definitely looks the part of a race gun, and there is an insane amount of milling detail all over this gun. The receiver looks quite different than a standard AR, and there's all sorts of crazy bevels and flowing lines. There's a flared magwell on top of an already flared magwell, so you should just be able to throw in a magazine in this gun's general direction and it should slot right in. The fancy blue muzzle brake is pretty insane, but I guess it does suit the look. Now the rail is a little bit strange. Here's what I mean. The bottom has standard M-lock, that's pretty normal, but the side slots are a little oversized and the angled slots are a little undersized. I don't really get why they didn't just go M-lock all around. The top of the rail is also strangely blank, but there is a little bit of rail near the receiver so you can bridge an optic over the receiver rail gap. In the hands, the rail is super comfortable and is pretty much the perfect size for all you C-clampers out there. The battery fits into the buffer tube as normal, but you do have to undo this screw and the whole stock slides off in one piece, revealing the battery. Unfortunately, the buffer tube is proprietary, so you can't just throw on a regular buffer tube. The stock is non-adjustable, and it's roughly equivalent to the third setting on a standard AR stock. The upside of being non-adjustable is absolutely zero play in that stock whatsoever. It might as well be one piece with that receiver. Speaking of play, there is just none anywhere on this gun, and it really does feel like one big block of CNC metal. It's almost as solid as a steel body AK, and yes, that is definitely a compliment. The finish is a grainy anodized gray, and it's consistent through the gun. There's accents of blue and gold, which I personally think is a nice touch, and it's anodized and not just painted. Controls have always been one of G&G's strong points, and this one does not disappoint. Everything works smoothly with a nice notch into place. The selector is a 45-degree selector, and auto is where semi usually is and semi in between. It's fast to get into semi, but muscle memory will usually throw it into auto, so bear that in mind. Charging handle and bolt release works as normal, but the sound is a little lackluster. Mag release is ambidextrous with a nice big plate on the right-hand side. Internally, like I said, it's all G&G G2 internals as seen on their other G2 AEGs, so I won't go too much into the internals. You do get their extremely responsive electronic trigger and MOSFET unit. We've been pretty impressed with the G2 line, so I'm sure this one won't let you down. Overall, I can see the allure of the auto-ejecting magazine, and aside from that pre-production mag release, the system works very well. I definitely see a lot of people wanting to pick up just the magazine simply for the novelty factor. I would like to see thicker or maybe rubber base plates if you know these are constantly going to be hitting the floor. As far as the gun itself, I'm sure people will either love or hate this intense design, but what's undebatable though is this is a very solidly built heavy gun. So if that's your thing and you like this look, this might be a great option for you. As always, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you on the next one.